Hello, soul sister. Welcome to another episode. We've got a treat today. We've got Madeline Charles in the house. Hey, Madeline.
Hi, Junie. Hi, everyone.
I'm so glad you're here. I just love what you're doing out in the world. She's got this thing called the Attraction Blueprint. I know you're going to want to know about it. And I can't wait to share all of her wisdom with you. Let me let you know who she is and what she's about, because Madeline has cracked the code on attracting the right relationship. And she knew she had to share her wisdom with the world, blending her professional experience as a licensed psychotherapist with intuition. Madeline shares equal parts practical and spiritual guidance to support women in receiving a secure, healthy partnership. That's so good. Most known for helping women uncover their attraction blueprint, Madeline supports single women to release anxiety associated with finding love. When not coaching, Madeline can be found in the mountains of Colorado, living a vibrant, love-filled life with her partner, Sean. I freaking love Colorado. Such a beautiful, beautiful state. It has my heart. Have you lived there long?
I've been here 9 years. I'm from St. Louis, but Colorado is certainly home now.
So good. I lived there in my 20s when I went to University of Denver, and I was an actress at the time, and my agent at the time said, June, pick a coast. There's only so much I could do for you. And I was so heartbroken because I really wanted to stay there. It was just so beautiful. But I came back, alas, to the New York area, and well, the rest is history. All right, enough of that stuff. This woman here is listening and going, what do you mean by cracking the code? What do you mean I can actually have something called a blueprint to attract something really special and amazing? So let's just dive right in. What's the attraction blueprint and how does it work? How does it help somebody find that person and impact somebody's love life?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we're starting here, Junie, because certainly in my own love transformation, this was the missing piece for me. I could imagine a lot of the women listening, you're smart, you have done your personal development work, like you probably have a lot of insight and awareness, and it's probably only getting you so far. And so where the attraction blueprint comes in is we look at you really as a holistic woman from that micro to macro scale, meaning we look on a micro level in terms of what were your childhood experiences, how has that influenced your attachment style, how did that kind of create that imprint for you to have a relationship with men in general, with how you see yourself, with your body image. So we kind of look at like what it goes on for you on that individual level. And then we also zoom out and we say, we know that we don't live in a silo. You know, what does it mean for you to be a woman in this society, in this day and age? What does it mean to be a woman in the world right now? What does it mean to be interacting with men and other women just non-romantically? So we kind of zoom out and we look at these various layers of your life, because attracting the right partner, it does mean really, I believe, knowing yourself on that deep level and starting to see, okay, these are my patterns in romantic relationship. And maybe I have some body image stuff going on. Maybe I have some childhood stuff that's showing up. Maybe current events around being a woman right now is impacting me. I mean, there's a lot, right? And I think that we have to kind of take that big picture view to help you understand, what are you working with right now? What are some of those hidden blind spots on the micro or macro scale that may be influencing and impacting what's showing up romantically? And so when we kind of take stock of all of that, you have your attraction blueprint, kind of that default setting that we're all running on. And then through the work I do with women, I help you shift that default setting into one that is much more conscious, intentional, really your empowered creation of like, I'm taking all of that and I'm moving it over here into something that I really want to make work for me, rather than just kind of lugging around this kind of like imprint that you may not have had much say over. A lot of it is subconscious. A lot of it is just kind of what you've seen modeled to you. And so you get to take that and shape it into something that's really going to work for you moving forward.
Whew. Yes, yes, yes. You're singing my song. You're singing my song. Yeah, because so many clients come to me and they're like, I don't understand why I have these patterns. I don't understand why I'm not attracting the right person. And they have a lot of shame around it. A lot of time I hear, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And they're comparing themselves to everybody, and they haven't taken the time, or I shouldn't say they haven't taken the time, because you just said something in the beginning, which is so true. Women are doing a lot of work. They're peeling back the covers and looking at their childhood and looking at the macro and the micro programming. The thing is that sometimes there are very distinct blind spots. And unless you have somebody that's intuitive like yourself with the skill set that you have, or a shadow worker like myself, women might be missing some really important things that have them repeating the patterns. And then it's the spiral, and they feel like they're a total mess, and then they judge themselves, and then they feel all this shame, and that totally gets in their way of opening to new love. So what I'm hearing is you're helping people really take a step back and look at like what's really going on inside of them. What has influenced them from outside when it comes to society, like now, what they've learned through the years, and what's happened personally. And so I'm curious, when somebody comes to you and you have this attraction blueprint model that you're working with, where do you start? And what might this soul sister that's listening, like, what's like one step right now to have her kind of go, oh, wait a second, that's a piece, and maybe take some shame off of that piece. Do you have any one thing that you can share right now?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I get that the shame can be so debilitating. And so I think when you look at your attraction blueprint, there are three main types that we work off. The one is called a fire sign. This most closely aligns with anxious attachment. This is how a lot of my women show up. The other is called an air sign. This mimics, oh gosh, I'm avoidant
Avoidance.
attachment. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have, I help women move into earth sign or secure attachment.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is just have that honest, self-compassionate view of yourself, to just say, this is where I am, and this is not my final destination, but
And it's not my fault.
Yes, yes. And so as we get going today, I just encourage everyone to listen in. And if there is something that you're like, ooh, that sounds like me, or gosh, she's just nailing exactly what's going on, that's cool, right? There's zero shame here. We've got to take that honest look with self-compassion in order to move the shame out, so that real change can actually occur. So I always say that it doesn't matter kind of where you're at on the attraction blueprint spectrum. A lot of women are like, sometimes I feel anxious, sometimes I feel avoidant, like I'm kind of in the middle, and that's totally cool. But I think you will see that when you start to move the shame out, you are closer to that secure attachment within yourself than you think. Like, I really believe that we all innately have that ability to be secure within ourselves and to relate to others from a secure place. We have to just kind of peel back those layers and get to that place within us. It's not about like learning something and becoming someone you're not. I really believe it's that like unlearning and coming home process that makes the difference.
Yes, the unlearning. Yes. And I love this. I absolutely love this, because a lot of women, a lot of people are not aware that there's some other things at play here. And so you're talking about attachment styles, and Soul Sister, if you don't know what the attachment styles are about, there's this awesome book called Attachments, and you can dive way deeper into it. But bottom line is, there's three attachment styles. And what I love that, you're sharing, Madeline, is you can do the healing work, and you can move away from the dynamics that are really tripping you up. I have had my challenges and still work with the anxious attachment. I've come a long way, and I've learned how to sit with oh, there it is. My partner is in the detached place, because that's what happens a lot. Anxious attachment tends to attract avoidance, and then you're like, oh shit, he's in another room, and I'm sitting here going, I'm really freaking out. And thankfully, with tools, with working with someone like yourself, Madeline, who's looking at this and helping people get more to the secure, you can use these tools where you can actually go, okay, wait a second, I'm spotting it. I can use these tools to come back to or work on the secure. So I love that you're sharing this, because again, it takes the shame off of us, that what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? And not you keep, because you haven't said it yet, but I know from talking to you and reading about, you know, the different things that you've done, you speak about feminine mess. And so, and I know so many women are like, I'm a hot mess. Who's going to want me? I'm a hot mess. I'm all over the map. And I'm just curious, what's your definition of feminine mess? And how can this actually be a strength? Because you say it actually can work for you in attracting the right partner. Connect the dots for this soul sister.
Yes. Okay. So I came up with this idea of like your feminine mess because I often find, not only with my own experiences, but with the women I work with, that it's the idea of like, I need to be super buttoned up. I need to self-censor. I need to, show myself in a certain light in order to get the attention and the attraction that I'm looking for. And we know that when we try to silo those parts of ourselves, it doesn't really work. That's not a sustainable solution. And certainly if you identify on that kind of anxious attachment side, you know that you probably have some pretty big feelings from time to time. It can feel like you're kind of all over the map and, little things can kind of get to you and create big emotional reactions. And yes, there are tools to soothe yourself and to keep yourself feeling grounded and confident, but I also feel like really owning the fact that you are a full spectrum woman, meaning your mood is going to vary, your energy is going to be all over the map. Like, learning how to work with those parts of yourself rather than trying to kind of repress them and shrink them down. I find that that is really where the magic is. And where a lot of women, I think, are mistaken is, when you're wanting to attract a healthy partner, they want to see all sides of you. Like, they really want to get to know you. And that does mean the less than shiny picture perfect sides. That does mean sharing your truth when it's uncomfortable, letting him see you when emotions are high, looping him into something that is really on your heart, whatever it is. And when you can start to see that whatever your current experience is, that you can funnel that in a way that creates deeper connection, then it's like you don't have to be just kind of on the sidelines waiting to figure it out by yourself and like hoping that he doesn't get a hint that, something's bothering you. You get to actually be in this beautiful co-creative process of strengthening that connection together.
And I love that you're bringing the word connection in, because we all want connection. I mean, we all want to have that heart connection. And then there's that belief of, but if I really share my vulnerability, if I share my fear, what is he going to think? And isn't that going to disconnect us? And what I'm hearing, and what I also say as well, is it's a beautiful opportunity. If you're wanting intimacy, it's into me, see, let them in. And so if there's something uncomfortable, if you're having some fear coming up or anxiousness or whatever is coming up that's uncomfortable for you, it's a huge opportunity for connection. So there are those women out there going, yeah, but hot mess. Seriously, Madeline, seriously, how do I share this with them without freaking them out or overwhelming them? Because I've always been told I'm too much or too emotional. What might you say to this woman who's going, sounds great, but yeah, no, I'm keeping the wall up around my heart.
I laugh because I so get it. I mean, this topic comes from just my own personal experience first and foremost. So, when I first we're just a couple of chicks walking the walk too, learning and growing and sharing our experiences. 100%. And, when I first started dating my partner, Sean, there were lots of things coming up. I would feel jealous. I would feel insecure. I was needing a lot of reassurance, like women who are in that kind of anxious attachment camp can be seeking, right? It was like, are we okay? Are you mad at me? Like, is everything working? And so I would find those emotions wanting to bubble up. And my tendency would have been to be like, nope, I'm fine. Nothing to see here. We're just going to, shove that under the rug. And I had seen that didn't actually work, because I would, in previous relationships, let that come out in a less constructive way later on. And so it's really that choice point of like, we know that path leads you somewhere you don't want to go. The alternative is to lean into vulnerability, knowing that no matter what happens, I'm going to be there for myself. And that me speaking my truth is actually more important than me self-abandoning right now and, shoving this down. And so there would be lots of conversations that, I mean, it would start with me saying, I have to be honest, there's something I want to tell you, and my stomach is in knots, or like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry at any moment, or like
Yeah.
I am like stumbling over my words, right? And just even naming like what was going on in my body, I think would really just like cut the tension, just like bring it to the surface. Like you would probably be able to feel it anyway. And so like let me just cut to the chase and tell you what's happening here. And then I would say, part of me is really scared of what you're gonna think when I share this, or I'm a little bit nervous that you're gonna lose interest. And then coming forward with, I was a little bit jealous when I saw you talking to that girl last night, or part of me is just really wanting to check in and know that we're doing okay, or whatever it was. And what I found was I was shocked. I was like, huh, you can hold this conversation with me. Like this actually is bringing us closer. This is diffusing all of my worry and anxiety. And after enough of those conversations, is like, I don't feel like I need to do that anymore, because yes, like I've received the validation and reassurance from him, but more than anything, like I've walked myself through that.
Yeah.
So those little things that were triggers before, I'm like, hey, that doesn't bother me, because like I've shown myself that I'm capable of holding and moving through so much more than I previously thought.
Wow. Wow. That was so full of so many golden nuggets. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to pull out a few things. First of all, abandoning oneself. Let us, like every single person that's listening to this right now, put your hand on your heart and say, I will not abandon myself no matter what. And that's a muscle. We have not been taught that. We have not been taught overall healthy boundaries. And so to be able to be vulnerable, we do need to work that muscle to know that we've got our own back to be able to open. So there's that piece. And the other thing I love that you shared is he held the space for you. And then you were able to relax going, wow, I was validated, and he held the space. Now, here's the thing. Not everybody will. And you want to know that. You want to know that, because if you're hiding or you're afraid of opening up, you're never going to know, is this the person that I can go ouch with? Like I'm uncomfortable. Can he really listen? Or is he going to shut you down, push you away, have his crap, pulled up? And so I love that you're sharing that it actually brought you closer and diffused it. It brought you closer and diffused it so that you could actually feel more connected. Anything else you want to add to that?
Even when you're first messaging online or you've met someone out organically, there are these micro moments where you get to flex that vulnerability muscle. And I don't want to say test the waters. We're not like testing with an agenda, but it is a little bit of what you're saying, Junie, of like, how does this person react? Like, I want to know that sooner than later.
Yeah.
And so, this might be something as simple as you're messaging or you're out on a first date. Hey, there's something that came up today that was actually pretty challenging. I would love to just share about it.
Yeah.
Are you open to that? Or, there was something like I just had a huge win at work, and I would love to celebrate that. I think that sometimes women can feel like, I don't want to be intimidating. I don't want to like come across too, like I have it too much together. And so we even like dim our wins and our successes. And so it's just those like little things, or it could be, a few days went by and you haven't heard from him, and now he reaches out and you're like, hey, I was a little bit, I was kind of wondering what had happened. Like I felt that distance between us, but it feels good to hear from you again. And so just even like naming that little thing, right? You're not blaming, you're not making him wrong, but you're just putting it out there to name your current experience. And you are seeing, what does he do with that?
Yeah.
And like, that's useful information, but it's also that practice of when I feel something or I want to express something, like I let it come through. I don't stuff it down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want, so well said. And I also want to just say exactly what you said. This is not about testing. It's about noticing. It's about noticing. Be you, be in your truth, take good care of yourself, share, be honest, and you will see how they react by their reactions, because you're going to feel in your body, oh, wow, I feel so seen and heard versus, oh, wow, I feel judged and pushed away. So I love that because women starting over a lot of times have a bag of experiences and have a checklist. And a lot of times they go on these dates and they're like, all right, I'm going to watch out for this. I'm going to watch out for this. I'm going to watch out for this. And that is not going to be a fun date for anybody. So I love that you brought that up. Show up, have fun, and notice how you're feeling during it. Speaking of how you're feeling, we're talking about also being secure inside of ourselves. And some people aren't feeling secure when it comes to love. What is your suggestion around moving toward feeling better about this stage of life, especially women, in their 50s and 60s and beyond? How do you get more secure?
I love that question because I do find, I often work with women in this age group, and like you mentioned, like we can be kind of hardened by life. And so how do we loosen some of that up and dislodge some of that? I think that it's important to remember that no matter what age, what stage of life you're in, or what has happened to you previously, that you do have that conscious choice at any given point. And we've got to like lock into that and activate our personal power, meaning like, yes, I had my past experiences, they've brought me here. And I'm going to just choose to not let that limit what I believe is possible for me moving forward. And it takes a lot of just consistent, dedicated, like noticing and reframing when you catch yourself like, oh, I'm going back to feeling like maybe love is going to be hard for me to find because of these factors, right? Like noticing those limitations you place on yourself and then being like, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm choosing to open up to something different. And sometimes we do have to do a little bit of like fake it till you make it, right? Like all of you may want to believe everything that has provided evidence up until this point as like a predictor of the future. But if you can even get to like 1% of me is open to the idea of something being different, 1% of me is curious about the possibility, right? Like we just need like a little crack and then we can start building from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So good. All right. One other thing I want to ask you, because you've talked about the nervous system playing a big role in attracting love. I'd like for you to speak to that. Like, what role does the nervous system actually have when it comes to really calling in this next level love that I call?
Oh, I love this question. And this is a perfect follow-up question because actually this is a huge piece of supporting yourself to feel more secure. Yes, there's the mindset that I just spoke to, but really so much of it happens from the neck down. This is that kind of habitual fight, flight, freeze response that many of us can have that we will see show up in our attraction blueprint type or our attachment style. And so notice for yourself when you are thinking about engaging with someone, whether it's online, going on a date, whatever's happening, where do you go in your body? You tend to get kind of grippy and closed off, guarded. Do you tend to get hyper vigilant? You're looking for every little thing that's going wrong. Are you feeling kind of flighty and it's hard to like relax and come back within yourself? Just notice these things. And then the beautiful thing about rewiring your nervous system is that it's so simple. It's very simple tools that have a profound difference. It's things like feeling your body in the chair, right, on the date. It's things like really noticing with your senses what you're eating, what you're smelling, what you're seeing. It's things like going to the bathroom and taking a few deep breaths, right? And just like looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I got you, you're good. Like such small little things that add up to big, big difference. But I think when we consider what helps you move the needle in your love life, it is a lot about affirmations or journaling. And I love all those things, but we forget to include the body. So we've got to kind of like bring the body with us into this change because your body has these stored memories of what has brought you here. It's the thing that is sending you the signals that your thoughts are going to be going off. And so when you know how to work with your nervous system, a lot opens up. And I have found that is the most direct path into that secure attachment style.
Oh my God. So perfect. Love it. It's so true because so many people are working from the neck up. They're trying to figure everything out. They're trying to work their mind. And of course that is so important. And what we're missing a shit ton of information, which is our nervous system and our body. And so I love that you're like, feel yourself in the chair, look in the mirror and go, I've got you. I mean, I do this on a regular basis. I look in the mirror, I give myself a wink. I look at myself and go, you've got this. You're good. You're good to go. I love you, Junie Moon. You know, I mean, if people really saw me behind closed doors, they'd be like, she talks a lot to herself. But seriously, you know, there's something to be said about soothing ourselves, learning how to take such good care of ourselves, because when we are in alignment and feeling relaxed, so much magic can happen. All right, I know you have this awesome masterclass that you're going to be sharing with the Soul Sister. What you got, sister?
Yeah, I'm so excited to share with everyone my free masterclass called Sexy, Successful, and Secure in Love. So you'll be learning much more about the attraction blueprint. You'll learn some of these tangible embodiment tools that'll support you with your nervous system, helping you move into that secure place. Loads more information. So if you are resonating with what we talked about today, I would love for you to check that out.
Beautiful. And her link for that will be in the notes, and as well as how to find Madeline. Any last words for this woman who is starting over, who might need a little pep talk for getting back out there?
Yeah, gosh, I just want to say it really is never too late. And when you decide that for yourself, everything opens up. And so I hope what we talked about today has inspired you, it's encouraged you, and just to stick with it, because there is a love that is waiting to come into your life.
Aw, that was so beautifully said. All right. Thanks, Madeline. All right, Soul Sister, that's our episode for today. So many golden nuggets. I really want to encourage you to check out her webinar, her masterclass. I encourage you to grab that book, Attachment. It's filled with so much information about how you're wired, and everything's going to be listed below. The other thing is just keep moving forward, keep loving yourself. That's what it's about. It's really coming home to yourself, because the more you're taking good care of yourself, the more you can open in a safer, more comfortable way, and you will shine your light. If you haven't liked or subscribed to the YouTube station or to the audio podcast, what you waiting for? Do it so you don't miss any wonderful upcoming episodes. There's a million that you can go back to and listen. There's so many golden nuggets throughout. I do this to help you have the greatest tools. So check out what's there, as well as liking and subscribing. And please share this with your friends, because I know you know at least one single soul sister that would absolutely benefit from hearing Madeline's message today. All right, that's it for today. See you next week. Mwah.